Good afternoon, Year 5. Today you're going to be learning all about the space race. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to ask you to produce a video presentation to explain what the space race is. So you might decide to do it from a neutral perspective and just give an explanation of what it actually was, or you might decide to take one of the sides. So it could be the side of the Soviet Union or of the USA and do it from their perspective. I'm going to let you have a think about that while I give you the information about what the space race was or is. So the space race was a competition of space exploration between the Soviet Union and the United States, and it lasted from 1957 to 1969. It had to do with the efforts to explore outer space with artificial satellites, to send humans into space, and to land them on the moon. So basically, essentially, it was just a race who can get to space first. So we had the USA versus the USSR, or the Soviet Union. And it was called a Cold War because a Cold War never actually broke into full war involving weapons. A Cold War is just a war of beliefs and pride. So when we say war, we're not talking about weapons. So here on the side of the USSR, we've got Sergei, and then on the USA, we've got Wernher von Braun. In 1955, both sides announced that they're going to launch an artificial satellite into space. So we've got the USSR saying, we're going to do it first, whereas the USA are saying, no, we will. Actually, on the 4th of October 1957, it was the USSR that launched the first satellite into orbit, and they called this satellite Sputnik 1. So if we're thinking about it on a point system, that would be 1 point to the USSR.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket. Here an artist's conception of how the feat was accomplished. A three-stage rocket. Number one, the booster, in the class of an intercontinental missile. Its weight estimated at 50 tons. The smaller second stage took over at 5,000 miles an hour and carried on to the highest point reached. 500 miles up, the artificial moon is boosted to a speed counterbalancing the pull of gravity and released. You are hearing the actual signals transmitted by the Earth-circling satellite, one of the great scientific feats of the age.
So that's the Russians sending the rocket with the satellite Sputnik 1. So after that, on the... Bear with me, the slides are very slow. On the 4th of November 1957, again, Russia, they send a dog into space now. This dog is called Laika, and the Laika goes on the Sputnik 2.
Всем советским людям особенно приятно, что коллективы научно-исследовательских институтов, конструкторских бюро, заводов и исполнительных организаций, создавшие новую ракету, посвящает этот пуст 21-му съезду Коммунистической партии Советского Союза.
So again, then, if we're talking about points, that would be another point for the Russians. They've sent 2 satellites into orbit, one of them having a dog on it. After that, on the 12th of April, a few years later, Russia, again, now they launched the first human into space. So that's 3 points if we're talking on a point system to the Russians. Less than a month after that, the USA, they launched Alan Shepard into space. So finally now they're catching up. So that's a man from Russia gone into space and then a man from the USA. On the 20th of February in 1962, an American astronaut, John Glenn, orbits the Earth 3 times. So we've got the USA catching up now and making lots of progress with their space exploration. Then on the 16th of June in 1963, the Russians launched the first woman, Valentina Tereshkova, into space. And then the cosmonaut Alexei Leonov performs the first spacewalk. On the 3rd of June in 1965, Ed White from the USA performs the first spacewalk for the Americans. On the 24th of December, so Christmas Eve 1968, America's Apollo 8 becomes the first manned craft to orbit the moon, taking this picture of the Earth. So again, we've got more advances now from the USA. And then, as we've learnt about Apollo 11, on the 20th of July 1969, the astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin become the first people to walk on the moon. And I'm not going to show you that video again because you've already seen it. But if you want to watch that, the clip is on these slides. So you've got to decide now, have a little think, who won the space race in your opinion and why? Okay, so as I said, your video presentation could either be from a neutral perspective, so you haven't taken any sides and you're just explaining what the space race is, or you could do it from the perspective of an American, believing that they won the space race, or the perspective of a Russian, believing that they won the space race. Okay, you can record on your iPads, on your Chromebooks, on a phone if you want to, and send them in to your teacher. Okay, I look forward to seeing those. Enjoy.